Alright, looks like we got some action here. So let's mix things up a little bit. On deck, we're gonna have, let's see who we're gonna have. We're gonna have Tony James in a second. In the hole, we got Deshaun. But coming to the stage right now to bring us a little comedy, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lovely Miss Rose Nicole. Come on, Rose.
Hello, nice to meet all of you. Came down here from Sacramento because I have no family and no friends here, so I'm just doing my part for COVID, staying in isolation. I couldn't help but notice that singer mentioning Courtney Love and looking right at me.
Yes, Courtney.
Go on, take everything, I dare you to. Yeah. That's San Francisco's job. I like to do that. I actually started doing comedy after I turned 40 because by the time you're my age, you laugh at all your own jokes and you don't care if the audience laughs. So I basically waited till I was a narcissist. I'm really grateful that the holidays are over. I've basically been relying on coffee to fill the hole in my heart that was created by a man I don't know that burnt me with acid, which we describe as love. I know I wrote all my stuff on a TP square here because I'm very professional. For me, when it comes to love... What'd he say? What'd you say? He said how much?
How much? Professional.
There's always more than you can afford. That's all Hollywood has got.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's
I know. Elon Musk and Bezos, they might be able to afford something.
She's on the fly.
When it comes to love, half the battle is being attracted to people, and the other half is whatever a relationship is supposed to consist of after that. It's actually really tragic because I've become quite aware that if I were a racist, gun-toting maniac, I would already be married.
Oh, wow.
But that's all right, you know. A lot of people, when they meet the one, they're getting married, they say, oh, this man, this woman, they feel like I came home when I met them. But the only time I ever felt like I came home, it turned out to be a halfway house. So I don't actually have a dating website because I get so many direct messages on Twitter and on Instagram that I don't need a dating website to be scammed or spammed. But I recently put no DMs in my description. And the reason I did this is because I got tired of hearing the same 3 questions. Are you married? Which is a legit question. Have you eaten today? And is your job stressing you out? If you're asking me if I've eaten today or if my job is stressing me out, that had better be followed up with dinner and a foot rub, or you might as well have just sent me a dick pic. I actually tried to date a cop in 2020. I met him at a Black Lives Matter protest, and it was going really well. I couldn't believe how conscientious and open-minded he was. He would sit with me and watch all the videos on why to abolish the police. He would watch all the videos on how to reform the police. And I couldn't believe how swell it was until one night he heard the phrase, all cops are bastards, ACAB. And he looked at me and he said, all cops are smarter. And I looked back at him and I said, if that were true, you would have said all cops are brainy. And he left me. At this point, it's been so long since I've had an intimate relationship that I'm basically an agnostic tantric Buddhist, which just means that I think my imagination is better than the real thing. About a year in, I switched hands. No, I'm not supposed to be laughing. I'm supposed to be making you laugh. I actually noticed in 2020 that I've always kind of had this... So the reason it's hard for me to date is I have avoidant attachment. And avoidant attachment basically just means you don't trust anybody. But I noticed in 2020 that I actually have this really sick attachment to comedians. I trust all comedians. My psychotherapist and relationship coach is a comedian. The angel on my left shoulder is comedian Graham Elwood, and the devil on my right shoulder is comedian Bill Hicks. You would not believe the things Bill tells me to do to Graham. Graham wasn't interested. He blocked me. But moving on from love and obsession and fixation, and actually, there is a fixation that Americans are really stuck on right now, and it's the vaccines. I'm actually triple vaxxed. I have my booster, and you know, a lot of conspiracy theorists are scared of the vaccine because some of the vaccines have an enzyme called luciferase, which is a bioluminescence, and so they fear that they're going to be trapped by it. But Christians fear it because of the name luciferase, which, as it turns out, does derive from the name Lucifer, which means bearer of light. Light bearer. Live and let them light, y'all. It basically brings a whole new meaning to the phrase, go into the light. They're basically telling you to go to hell. But I did hear some really good news about the vaccines. They recently came out with a vegan vaccine. And this made me very excited because you have no idea how long I've been waiting to be vaccinated against vegans. And that is actually the set I have prepared. Do you want me to keep going? All right, so I used to do comedy. I used to tell jokes during karaoke because I would do karaoke songs with a really long intro, and the audience hates that. So I would tell jokes to quell them until the singing began. But then 2020 hit, and I couldn't do karaoke anymore, so I started going to the live streams of comedians on YouTube. And I noticed really quickly that not only would I get the attention of the chatters in the live stream, but I would also get the attention of the comedians themselves, and they would read my jokes on live and everything. So I was like, oh, this is great. I want to be a comedian's comedian. But as it turns out, I'm really just a great heckler, because there was actually one comedian who was very staunch about reform the police or abolish the police, depending on the sins of the station. And I heckled him so hard that he threatened to call the cops on me. And I don't know how, but with my left-handed brain, this sent a domino effect. And I'm someone who always accomplishes their goals, and I'm always ticking off the items on my bucket list, so I end up with an empty bucket list. So I thought, well, I know what'll stick on there for a while. I'll put date a comedian on my bucket list. Everyone knows comedians are perpetually single. But the only risk you run in falling for a comedian is you go from a hopeless romantic to someone who's just hopeless. My dating is so hopeless. I have a lot of friends. They're like, you know, you should try going on a reality show for dating. And I'm like, yeah, that would be great, but I would probably just get to the end of the first round and look around and say, this is going to be a really rough decision because I want to cut you all. All right, that's my encore, and I can sing you some more Courtney Love.
Give it up for Rose Nicole, everybody. Nicely done, Rose.
Thank you again. Oh, it's all good. I'll sit with you.
It's funny.
Thank you.
Vegan.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.